Felicitous greetings, fellow fanatics.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Adam the Fanatic, and today we're taking a look at Galen Games Mint 10 mini-series, a quartet of pocket games currently available on Kickstarter. Please do bear in mind that this is a preview based off of a prototype copy. Well, 4 prototype copies this time. As such, nothing is finalized, and anything seen herein is subject to change. All 4 games in the series are designed for 2 players, but each also includes a solo mode. We'll be going in alphabetical order, so first up is Dice Clash. In Dice Clash, each player will pick one of 6 warriors: the Highlander, the Knight, the Ninja, the Samurai, the Spartan, or the Viking. Each has a warrior card with a special ability plus a battle grid, both of which should start on their green side. Each player will also take 9 dice, 6 black, 2 white, and 1 red. Choose a player to go first, then roll your dice, but keep them hidden from your opponent. Players will take turns choosing dice from their pool. The Highlander starts by placing a 2 on this space. Since there's a +1 sword icon there, it increases the attack value of her die by 1, giving her a total of 3. Thus, the Knight must respond by playing a 4 or higher. She likewise places a 2, placing it on the +2 shield icon. This means it'll be treated as a 4 for blocking, but still only counts as a 2 for attack. This means that the Highlander must respond with at least a 3. She plays a 5, and the Knight once again follows up with the same number, playing a 5 to this corner. This space allows her to change the value of a die, increasing or decreasing it by 1, in this case, changing it to a 6. When an attack value of 6 or higher is played, the next player must parry by playing a defense value of exactly 1. Since the Highlander doesn't have any 1s, she instead plays a 6 to this space, which flips the die to its opposite side. Since this is her red die, it'll also activate her special ability, Donnybrook. Each warrior has their own unique ability. In the case of the Highlander, hers allows her to choose a die in her pool and re-roll it. If it lands on a 1 or 2, she must discard it, but if it lands on a 3 or higher, she keeps the new value, and her foe must choose and discard one of their dice instead. The Knight then plays a die to this space, which allows her to copy the value of another die on her battle grid. She picks a 6, suspecting that the Highlander doesn't have any 1s after that last move. It should also be noted that she played one of her white dice. When a white die is played, that player re-rolls all remaining dice in their pool. Play will go back and forth like this until a player is unable to counter the last die played. When this happens, they're hit. Both players clear their battle grids, and the player that took the hit flips their character to the adrenaline side, which gives them a more powerful grid and an improved special power. All dice are then reclaimed and re-rolled, and a new round starts. If a player takes a hit when they're in an adrenaline state, they've lost the game and the remaining player is the winner. The solo mode includes 2 unique characters to fight against, along with rules for how they choose their actions, whereas the player can use any of the 6 standard characters to fight against them. Next up is Heritage Farms. Inspired by the classic riddle of the farmer and the river, players will have foxes, chickens, and corn that they need to transport across the river. Set up the game by laying out the cards in 2 columns, with the farms on the outside and the markets on the inside, making sure each column has the same colors in them. Start meeples on the farms of their own color, and place the appropriate cubes on each farm. Red cubes represent foxes, white are chickens, and yellow are corn. Shuffle the bonus tokens, and then randomly place one face down on each market of the matching color. Choose a player to go first, and then have the other player choose where the boats start. And with that, you're ready to begin. The first player chooses a farmer that they control and calls their boat to them. The catch being that each card only has a single dock. If the other boat is already at that card, they can't move to or from that card this turn. When they do this, they may move it to any of their own farms or markets that do not currently have a farmer meeple on them. They may also take any cube from one of their farms or markets and move it along with them. However, they have to be careful. If there's no farmer on a card, then nature's law takes place. Firstly, the chickens will eat any corn on the card, and then foxes will eat any chickens on the card. It doesn't matter whether they're on the farm or in the market. If they're left unsupervised, they'll wreak havoc. However, meeples from either player will stop this from happening on the entire card. The farmers may be competing, but they're friendly rivals and won't let the animals make a mess on their watch. When placing a farmer on a market for the first time, flip its bonus token face up. When a farmer leaves a market, if that market has a bonus token, the player will then claim it and can play it on a later turn. There are 4 different bonuses available, and each can help you manipulate the board in different ways. Play continues until one of 2 end conditions is met. If a player manages to get 2 markets filled with one of each good, they win. However, if a player loses any 3 goods, they lose the game immediately, and the remaining player is the winner. There are also pieces to play with the advanced Poison Corn and Zombie Chickens variant, making things a bit more complicated if the players so desire. There's also a D4 and reference card to play a solo mode with the clumsy Farmer Elmer, who you want to make sure doesn't accidentally destroy either your goods or his own. We're now at the halfway mark and moving on to Monster Mashup, where each player will take on the role of a mad scientist, creating a chimeric monster and sending them to do battle with one another in a BattleBots-like arena. To set up, each player will need a reference card, a stat tracker, HP and energy cubes for said tracker, a yellow boost die, and 2 regular D6s. They'll also need to choose one of 4 mad scientists to play as, each with their own unique ability. You'll also want to take the arena card and place the tracker on camera 1 to start. Then, shuffle up the monster deck and deal out 3 cards to each player. Each card has a head on the front and a back on the, well, back of the card. Players will choose one of each to form their monster. In this case, Dr. Chaos has chosen Mega Slime, while Dr. Deranged has sent forth Manta Wolf. When monsters are formed, players set their health to the value on the head, and add the creature's intelligence to their energy pool. This means their starting energy will be equal to their first monster's intelligence. Battles will consist of rounds with 3 phases each. In the roll phase, both players will roll both of their battle dice. Each player gains 1 energy the first time they roll a 1 in a round. The player with the lower total has the option to spend energy to re-roll. They may spend 1 energy to re-roll both dice, or 2 energy to pick and choose 1 die to re-roll. The option to do this passes back and forth between players until both pass consecutively. It's also important to check Monster and Mad Scientist's ability. Each monster head has a condition, and each monster body has an effect. So in the case of Mega Slime here, if Dr. Chaos rolls the same number as Dr. Deranged, then he can choose to flip one of his dice. Similarly, he may choose to inflict 1 damage to his own monster to gain 1 energy. Each of these may only be used once per round. Once both players have passed consecutively on the option to spend energy, they move on to the boost phase. At this point, both players will make gestures in rock, paper, scissors fashions to show whether they're boosting, defending, or hitting the panic button. In order to boost, you'll do one of 2 things. If you don't wish to spend energy, you can form your fingers into a circle to show 0. Alternatively, you can hold up any number of fingers to show that you're spending that much energy in order to boost. When you do so, regardless of what your opponent chose, you must spend that much energy. After that, set your yellow boost die to the appropriate value to show that you have boosted. If you wish to defend, you'll instead make a fist. When you defend, you gain energy equal to your monster's intelligence. However, unless your opponent hits the panic button, you will lose that round. Normally, when you lose a round, you take damage equal to the number of the current camera. However, when defending, this will always be treated as 1. Finally, if you wish to hit the panic button, simply slam your hand down on the table. If either or both players hit the panic button, then you must re-roll all battle dice. However, if one player boosted, their boost die will remain unaffected. Next, you move on to the damage phase. Assuming neither player defended, you'll compare attack values and add the boost values. The highest number wins and deals damage equal to the current camera number. If there's a tie, you'll compare speed values, and whichever is higher wins. In this case, Manta Wolf has a major speed advantage over Mega Slime. Above the speed, you also have the monster's special attack value. If your final total exceeds your opponent's by that number or more, you'll add your special attack to the damage you deal. If a player defends, then they automatically lose. They only take 1 arena damage, but still take full special attack damage if applicable. This can result in both players taking arena damage if they both defend. Finally, if one player defends and the other player hits the panic button, then the player that hits the panic button loses and the one that defended wins. This means that, in this case, the one that hit the panic button will take arena damage. At this point, if both monsters are still standing, you'll advance the arena tracker 1 space clockwise and return to the roll phase, repeating this until either monster is defeated. Once a monster hits 0 HP, the opposing player takes its head as a victory point. All other parts from the current monsters are discarded. The winner makes sure that their mad scientist is on the starting side, while the loser of the round makes sure that their mad scientist is on their, well, mad side. Each player then draws 2 more cards to bring their total monster parts back up to 3. And starting with the winner of the previous battle, they make new monsters in the same manner as before. Play will continue like this until either player has defeated 3 monsters, at which point they're declared the winner. Solo play involves playing against Dr. Entropy, who will randomly assemble monsters and rolls the boost die to determine his actions depending on his current energy level. Finally, we're taking a trip to Verdant, Arizona. To set up, shuffle the deck of 40 cards and deal out 9 of them into a 3x3 grid with a bit of space between each of them. Also make sure that each player has enough room for a separate 4x4 tableau near them. If any of the face-up cards show a nest, place a Ren token on each of those cards. Choose a player to go first. The second player chooses where to place the truck token, placing it on any side of any card on the grid. This can be between 2 cards or on the outer edge. And yes, facing does matter. On a player's turn, they may move the truck up to 2 times. Moving forward, making a left or right turn, or doing a 180-degree turn each counts as one move. You must end your move by a face-up flower card if you're able to, after which you'll claim a card adjacent to you, then replace it with a new card from the deck face down. I'll explain claiming cards and placing them in your tableau in a moment, but if the card has a Ren token on it, claim the token as well. During your turn, you may spend Ren tokens at a cost of 1 per space to move the truck farther on your own turn. Alternatively, you may spend 2 Ren tokens to swap the position of 2 flowers you've placed within your tableau. Play will go back and forth with players claiming cards. If at any point the card cannot reach a flower in 2 moves, then you'll do 2 things. Firstly, place a Ren token on all face-up cards in the grid, if any are left. Secondly, flip all face-down cards face-up, forming a new grid. And if any of these have nests, also place a Ren token on them as normal. After that, you'll take your turn as normal. Play continues like this until both players have a 4x4 tableau, at which point they'll score their cards. Whenever you claim a card, you'll place it into your tableau. With the first card you take, placement doesn't really matter, but any future cards must be adjacent to 1 or more cards that you've already placed. You don't have to define the boundaries of your tableau, so you can place them anywhere so long as you don't exceed the maximum height and width of 4. You have a few goals when placing. At the end of the game, you'll gain 1 point for every row or column that has numbers in ascending or descending order. So 5, 10, 24, 38, or 40, 24, 12, 6 would both score, as would any others that follow this rule. You take no penalty for non-scoring rows or columns. Additionally, if there are any geckos, they score 1 point if it's part of a scoring row or column, and 2 points if it's part of both. You also gain 2 points for every quadrant of your tableau that has a single color. If there's a tie, then the player with the most Ren tokens wins. The solo mode involves an Automa that will be collecting sets of cards by color, with the largest set determining her score. You want to manipulate her to get a well-balanced set of cards in order to keep her score low, while similarly filling up your own tableau and scoring as you would in a normal game. All in all, these are quick, light floor titles that you can easily fit in your pockets. They're all quite different from one another. If you want the full set, it'll cost you $40 US. Or if you're like me and aren't particularly fond of nature and farming themes, you can get 2 for $24. That being said, the mechanics for each are solid, and I'm especially excited for Dice Clash. I'm not normally fond of solo modes in competitive games, however, this time around it's actually quite puzzly, and I'm anxious to overcome those AI opponents. As these are prototype copies, I'll not be giving any of the Mint 10 series formal review scores at this time. What I can say is that there's plenty of variety in there for those who want fun filler titles on a budget. And if you're not sure these games are for you, all 4 of them are currently fully playable on Tabletop Simulator, including all variants and solo modes. As always, I am very supportive of any designers confident enough to put their full games on Tabletop Simulator or similar services for players to try before committing to buy. If you want to try any or all of these games, links are included in the description. The Mint 10 series is currently on Kickstarter. If you're interested in backing or learning more, links are included in the description. But what about you? What do you think of the Mint 10 series? Which of the 4 games are you most looking forward to? If you have any questions, remarks, or opposing points of view, leave that in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. If you really enjoy my work, please consider funding my channel on Patreon. Until next time, farewell, fellow fanatics. Thank you again for watching. I have plenty more to share with you if you're interested. You can click up here above my head to subscribe to my channel. You can click over here on my monitor to see the most recent video that I've worked on. Or if you prefer, you can click up here to open this mysterious vault and see what video that the YouTube algorithm has picked just for you.